Today, we are comparing Viking Ocean Cruises with Azamara, two premium small ship cruise lines that appeal strongly to mature travellers who care more about destinations, service and a relaxed onboard atmosphere than water parks and huge resort ships. Viking is adults only and operates modern Scandinavian design ships carrying around 930 to 998 guests. Every cabin has a veranda. The atmosphere is calm and understated, and fares include Wi-Fi, specialty dining, access to the Nordic Spa, a 24-hour room service, and one introductory shore excursion in each port. Beer and wine are also included with lunch and dinner. Azamara's ships are even smaller, carrying around 700 guests, and the line places a particularly strong emphasis on spending more time in port, with longer stays, late departures and overnight visits. Its fares include gratuities, selected beers, wines and spirits, non-alcoholic drinks, self-service laundry and 24-hour room service, although regular shore excursions normally cost extra. On many longer cruises, Azamara also includes one special cultural evening, often held ashore while the ship stays late in port. So, although Viking and Azamara attract a similar type of traveller, they approach small ship cruising in quite different ways. By the end of this video, you should have a much clearer idea of which cruise line better suits your style of travel. We will also compare prices on closely matched itineraries so you can see how the fares differ and decide which one offers the better value for you. Welcome back to Rob and Nawa Travels. We are not travel agents and neither cruise line has paid us to make this comparison. As part of our review, we have created a free spreadsheet covering the ships, cabins, dining, inclusions, accessibility, passenger reviews, and every fare used in this video. Viking and Azamara are likely to appeal to a very similar type of traveller. Mature adults who prefer smaller ships, a quieter atmosphere, and destination-focused cruising rather than family activities, water parks, or late-night party venues. Viking tends to attract a predominantly 55-plus audience. Azamara has a very similar adult-focused feel. Children are allowed, and some cabins can accommodate an extra guest with a roll-out bed or through connecting rooms, but there are no kids clubs or dedicated children's programs. Families with young children are therefore rarely a significant part of the onboard atmosphere. One noticeable difference is the ships themselves. Azamara's 4 ships are older and smaller, and cruise critic reviews sometimes describe parts of them as feeling dated or compact. At the same time, reviewers generally say they are well maintained, so the age of the ships does not necessarily translate into a poor onboard experience. Entertainment is broadly similar on both lines, with live music, small-scale shows, lectures and cultural activities, rather than large production spectacles. Another difference is drinks. Azamara includes selected beers, wines and spirits throughout the day, while Viking's included alcohol is mainly beer and wine with lunch and dinner, unless you buy a drinks package. Overall, the atmosphere on both lines should feel quite similar, relaxed, mature and fairly quiet. Viking's slightly larger and newer ships can feel more spacious and contemporary, while Azamara's smaller ships feel more intimate, but also a little more compact. Azamara's approach to destinations is probably one of its strongest advantages. The company deliberately builds many of its itineraries around longer stays in port, late departures, overnight visits and smaller ports. Azamara describes its extended destination days as providing at least 10 hours in port, and overnight stays are an important part of the product. In the Azamara itineraries we researched, we found numerous ports where the ship did not depart until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. That is quite different from our personal experience cruising with Viking. On the Viking cruises we have taken, we generally left port between 4 and 6 in the afternoon, with overnight stays more commonly occurring at the beginning or end of the cruise. There is, however, an important difference when it comes to shore excursions. Viking includes one shore excursion in every port of call as part of the fare. These are typically introductory overview excursions, perhaps a guided walking tour, a coach tour, or a cultural visit. Viking also offers a much much wider selection of optional excursions at additional cost. Azamara's regular shore excursions are not included. In the itineraries we researched, we found excursions ranging from around $50 per person to $400 or more for some of the more elaborate experiences. So the difference really comes down to how you like to explore. If you enjoy organising your own days ashore and value having much longer in port, particularly in the evening, Azamara has a real advantage. If you prefer the convenience of having an organised introductory excursion already included in your fare, Viking may suit you better. And of course, on either cruise line you could still explore independently or pay for more extensive excursions if you choose. All Viking cabins have a private balcony. Their standard veranda and deluxe veranda cabins are around 270 square feet including the balcony, with prices varying mainly by location and deck. Penthouse veranda cabins are larger at around 338 square feet, while penthouse junior suites are around 405 square feet. Viking's newer 998 guest ships have slightly larger cabins across the range. Azamara's older ships have noticeably smaller standard cabins, but they offer more choice, including inside, ocean view, veranda, and several suite categories. They also have around 5 to 7 accessible cabins per ship, compared with just 2 dedicated accessible cabins on Viking. Neither line has dedicated solo cabins. Azamara's standard veranda is around 215 square feet, including the balcony, while its 326 square foot continent suite is very close in size to Viking's 338 square foot penthouse veranda. So Viking has the advantage for cabin size, while Azamara offers more cabin choice and lower cost entry options. Both lines include their main dining venues and 24-hour room service. Viking has around 7 dining venues, including 2 main specialty restaurants where reservations are normally required, but there is no additional dining charge. Azamara has 6 restaurants, including 2 specialty restaurants, Prime Sea and Aquilina, which cost extra unless complimentary dining is included with your cabin category. Viking also includes Wi-Fi, self-service laundry and complimentary access to the Nordic Spa. Beer, wine and soft drinks are included with lunch and dinner, while tea, coffee and bottled water are available throughout the day. For the US Viking fares we are using in this comparison, onboard gratuities are not included, and alcoholic drinks outside lunch and dinner are extra unless you purchase a drinks package. Azamara includes gratuities, selected spirits, international beers and wines, bottled water, soft drinks, specialty coffees and teas throughout the day, as well as self-service laundry and 24-hour room service. So Azamara has the advantage when it comes to alcoholic drinks included outside mealtimes. Cabin category makes a bigger difference on Azamara. Continent suites and above include unlimited Wi-Fi, complimentary specialty dining, access to the spa facilities, butler service and complimentary in-room spirit. Higher suites add further benefits. Veranda Plus cabins also receive some extras, including limited complimentary Wi-Fi and 1 complimentary specialty dining evening for 2 every 7 nights. And as we mentioned earlier, Viking includes 1 introductory shore excursion in every port, whereas Azamara's regular shore excursions are normally an additional cost. We also looked at Cruise Critic member ratings across the fleets. The Viking ships in our review set had a review weighted average of approximately 4.57 out of 5, based on 7,618 published reviews. Across Azamara, Journey, Quest, Pursuit and Onward, the weighted average was approximately 4.21 from 1,950 reviews. These are voluntary online reviews rather than a controlled survey, so they should not be treated as scientific evidence, but they do suggest that Viking's consistency remains one of its strongest selling points. Let's now look at 2 direct fare comparisons between the lines, using cruises of the same duration, in the same region, and during the same month. Our first comparison is a 10-night Mediterranean cruise in September 2028. Viking Sea's Greek Odyssey sails round trip from Athens from the 19th to the 29th of September 2028. Azamara Onward sails a 10-night Greece and Turkey itinerary, also round trip from Athens, from the 27th of September to the 7th of October October. At entry level, Viking's Veranda V2 was $15,998 for 2 people. Azamara's Veranda V3 was $12,318. Viking was therefore $3,680 more expensive, or approximately 30%. But at that level, Azamara does not include unlimited Wi-Fi, specialty dining, regular shore excursions, or the equivalent of Viking's included Nordic spa access. Azamara does, however, include gratuities and selected alcoholic drinks throughout the day, while Viking's included alcohol is mainly beer and wine with lunch and dinner. When we move to the more comparable premium accommodation, Viking's 338 square foot penthouse veranda was $18,998 for 2. Azamara's 326 square foot continent suite was $17,398. The gap falls to just $1,600, or approximately 9%. At this level, the Azamara suite also includes additional benefits, such as unlimited Wi-Fi, specialty dining, and access to the spa facilities, as well as gratuities and included drinks. Viking still has the advantage of one included shore excursion in every port. A second comparison produced a much wider gap. Viking Sky's British Isles Explorer sails from Bergen to London from the 10th to the 24th of August 2028. Azamara Journeys British Isles Intensive sails round trip from Portsmouth from the 3rd to the 17th of August 2028. At entry level, Viking's Veranda was $16,998 for 2. Azamara's Veranda was $10,618. The difference was $6,380, making Viking approximately 60% more expensive. At the premium level, Viking's Penthouse Veranda was $20,998. Azamara's Continent Suite was $14,918. The difference was $6,080, or approximately 41%. That is why we strongly recommend comparing actual sailings rather than assuming one cruise line is always better value. Drinks, gratuities, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, spa access and shore excursions can all affect the overall value. So the better choice depends heavily on which inclusions you would actually use. There was another noticeable difference at the booking stage. The Viking offer we captured advertised a $25 deposit. However, the full balance was due some 16 months prior to the sailing date. On Azamara, the deposit shown for the veranda cabin in our Mediterranean comparison was $550 per person. For the Continent Suite, the deposit was $2,200 in total, or $1,100 per person. With Azamara, the full payment was due approximately 150 days or 5 months prior to the sailing date. So while Viking has a much lower deposit, it requires the full payment nearly 12 months prior to what Azamara requires. Azamara also offered a pay in full option at the same fare, with an additional 5% onboard credit. Viking and Azamara offer a very similar, relaxed, mature, small ship experience, but with different strengths. Linked in the description below is the full comparison spreadsheet we prepared from our research, and may help you with your own decision if you are considering either cruise line. If you found this comparison useful, please give the video a like and subscribe to Rob and Nava Travel. And if you are considering other small ship options suitable for mature adults, watch our Viking versus Oceania comparison next. That comparison produced one of the biggest price differences we have found between two small ship cruise lines. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.